Imagine waking up and the newest country in the entire world is actually a province of South Africa, because in the Western Cape, close to 60% of the residents prefer autonomy over the rest of South Africa. So in this video, we're going to look at various points about what makes a country and is it viable for the Western Cape to actually become more autonomous. It's important to realize the Western Cape is close to 125,000 square kilometers, which is larger than Greece and slightly smaller than Uruguay. No one is looking at those countries and saying they are not viable. In terms of geography and size, is a perfectly viable autonomous zone. But despite its size, it does face challenges with water, it faces challenges with energy dependence, but Singapore overcame both of those things as well, so easily solvable. Thanks to its size, there are close to 7 million people living in the Western Cape, which mirrors countries like Paraguay, Singapore, and Bulgaria. But this population is very, very diverse. You have 50% of which are colored people, 25% are white people, and 25% are black African people. So it's multi-ethnic, lots of different languages. Very much like Switzerland, and they're still a country. Economically, the Western Cape's economy is bigger than Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe's economies combined. It contributes close to 17% of the revenue to the South African government, but only gets back 11% from the National Treasury. So the Western Cape is subsidizing other parts of South Africa. Some claim that this is deeply unfair. The Western Cape is effectively subsidizing people that don't live in the Western Cape. And thanks to this economy, the Western Cape has more tourism than Mauritius, more steak startups than Chile, and more fishing than Iceland. All of those countries, as far as I'm aware, are real countries. But what makes the Western Cape unique from the rest of South Africa is the people, but also there's a very different political party running it. The Democratic Alliance, which is the English-speaking Liberal Party in the vein of the Europeans, have been running the Western Cape since 2009, which is very similar to the Scottish government, which is very similar to the Quebecois government in Canada. And those countries also favor autonomy, and many have achieved autonomy in some sense. In fact, the model for the Western Cape could actually be Quebec, where you remain in the country, but you have your own distinct laws, your own distinct identity, and you basically pressure the rest of the country to allow you to exist in a more autonomous manner. But it's all not rainbows and butterflies. On the face of it, the Western Cape can be autonomous tomorrow, but there lacks a clear path. And also, will South Africa want to let the Western Cape go? Because let's face it, the Western Cape has 10% of the South African population, it has almost 20% of the GDP, it controls a very important maritime choke point on the South Atlantic corridor. If the Western Cape ceases to exist within South Africa loses quite a lot. So at the foundation, the Western Cape is perfectly viable as an independent country. There are legal hurdles, there are political hurdles, there are geographical hurdles, but many other countries in the same space has achieved independence, and there's no reason why the Western Cape cannot do it as well. At the end of the day, we have a Trump administration who is looking for strategic influence in Africa, wants more foreign direct investment into Africa, and if the South African government is hostile to this approach, why would the Western Cape government be hostile? It should not. It should welcome this with absolute open arms. The Western Cape has far more power than it thinks. And by leveraging that power in a very constructive and intelligent way, the autonomy of the Western Cape could be defined for generations to come by just being patient, by being strategic, and understanding that autonomy is not something that happens overnight. It is a process that begins. The goal is quite clear. The process must begin today.